I'm going to cover a lot of information. If there's anything you'd like to watch in the playback, just go to Meller Marketing on Facebook. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn and say, what was that page again? And I'll message it out to you. Sound good?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to flip over to my slide deck here. All right. And we're going to get started. And this is going to be hands-on here today. So if you do have your laptop with you, bring up your LinkedIn. If you've only got your phone, that's great too. Bring your phone up, and we're going to make this a very interactive presentation. All right, so description I think is on the web page, but it's also in the slide deck here. And on that note, I do have some handouts. I might have somebody help pass around here. Make this a little bit easier for you so you don't have to write notes furiously. Maggie, would you mind helping? Sure. Thank you so
Good.
much.
I like handouts.
There you go. So the handouts kind of have the highlights of the presentation, but I will make this full slide deck available if anyone would like a copy. All I ask is that you connect with me on LinkedIn because I want you to use the tool that I'm teaching you about. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Good? All right, awesome.
Yeah, okay.
All right, and then it is okay to take photos. This is what I do for a living, social media, right? So I'm active on all the platforms, so tag me wherever you go, Meller Marketing, Brenda Meller. And all I ask is that if you're taking photos to post on LinkedIn, turn your phone sideways and take multiple photos. Because you know you get those weird presenter photos where you're making the weird little looks and things like that. I like to take like multiple pictures and then post the best one, is what I like to do. And try to get, when they're making gestures or when they're smiling or those types of things, those work really, really well. Okay? So by the end of the session, we're going to learn how to optimize your profile. We're going to talk about building strategic connections, and we're actually going to practice doing that in today's session, inviting people to connect. We are going to create social media karma, and you're going to learn my technique, and I guarantee you'll never post the same way ever again. Okay? NEVA is an acronym, and yes, I'll explain that a little bit later.
Okay.
All right? So when someone says, so what did you learn at that conference? Here's some things you can tell them. Well, I learned how to optimize my profile, et cetera, et cetera. So some good tips. And from our last presenter, who was in the room here for our last presenter? Present like a pro. And I tried to incorporate some of her techniques as she was going, and I added some time elements to this. So we're going to be about 25 or so minutes after introductions on optimizing our profile. And then from there, we'll talk about invitations for about 10 minutes, creating social media karma, and posting we'll do about 5 minutes. Sound good?
Good.
So we're going to end here, I think around, we're supposed to end about 10 to the hour, right? So can I get somebody in the back to give me maybe a 5 minute? So at about 1:45, can you give me a 5? That would be great. Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's start with some introductions and some reminders. And I want to start with me. I'm an introvert, obviously, right? But part of the reason that I do public speaking is because it helps me to stay fresh and to stay polished. So if there's anybody else in the room who's an introvert, one thing I did throughout the conference, every time I was in the room and somebody said, can I get a volunteer? My hand went up. And I'm like, what am I doing? But part of it is just getting over that nervousness by continually practicing, okay? I love my job. I love my family. I also love coffee, pie, and chocolate. And I love pie so much that every time I present, I bring a pie to give away for my audience. But I went around Columbus last night, and I could not find a pie at any bakery. But I did find chocolate. And this is at Winans, and these are the best Buckeyes in the land. It actually says the best Buckeyes in the land. So if you'd like a chance to win that, I'm going to throw this around if you want to put your name on a slip of paper or a business card, and I'll draw one at the end, okay? And then you go home with the best Buckeyes in the land. All right, so that's a little bit about me. I've been using LinkedIn. I'm going to actually take these off a little bit itchy here. I've been using LinkedIn pretty heavily as a marketer and as a individual user, a job seeker, a hiring manager, etc. I'm also starting to use it now within the chapter as a board member and as a community management chair for Together Digital Detroit. And I've used it now as a salesperson, as a coach, and a consultant, and as a trainer. Okay? So that's a little bit about me. And now what I'd like to do is ask for 2 volunteers, maybe one from the left and one from the right side of the room, to tell me about you. Awesome, got the hand going. Go ahead and stand up if you could. So tell us your name and chapter city, your favorite kind of pie, and one thing you're hoping to learn here today.
Hello everyone, I'm Michonne Stiles. I'm not a member of a chapter yet,
Okay.
operative word yet. And my favorite pie Can I say that cheesecake is a pie?
Cheesecake is a pie. My friend Tina
It's in a
Marie,
crust,
shout out to
right?
Tina Marie, would love that you said that because cheesecake is just a pie made of cheese.
That's right.
I mean, it is, right? So here's the cool thing. The boa is going to make its way around the room. So, Deshaun, you get the first one here.
All right.
Gonna
And
pass
you know
that?
this is my favorite color, right?
Is it pink is your favorite color?
Yes, it is.
I knew I liked you. So we're going to have some fun. That's going to keep moving around the room here. Get some pictures with that. That's a cool little craft. How often do you get to wear a pink feather boa? All right, so can I get a volunteer from this side of the room? Yes. Stand up and tell us your name, chapter, city, and something you're hoping to
Hi
learn.
everyone, my name is Clara Matanazenda. I'm from Cincinnati chapter, and my favorite kind of pie is apple pie.
Awesome.
All American. And one thing I'm hoping to learn from this workshop is how to get more people to follow my business page.
Awesome. How to get more people to follow your business page. Awesome.
So maybe you can all follow it.
What is your business page? What is your business page?
Multiculturalsolutions.com.
Multiculturalsolutions.com. So we'll get. Are you on LinkedIn? Do you have that company
Yes.
page for that?
Yes.
Give that page a follow. Let's help each other and encourage each other. All right. So important thing to keep in mind here too is even if you're not on LinkedIn and even if you're not active on LinkedIn, people are looking you up and they are looking your business up. And one common mistake I see businesses doing is they may have a company page and they don't post anything on it. And they've got thousands and thousands of followers. I mean, that's essentially people that are raising their hand that are saying, yes, I want to learn more about your business, and you're not using that opportunity. Okay, so make sure you take that information back to your companies if you can. So let's talk quickly about LinkedIn. I'm going to assume everybody in the room here is on LinkedIn. Is that a fair assumption? We're all kind of somewhat active, but you're here to learn more. So LinkedIn is not the largest social networking site you may know, but it is still growing in terms of popularity and in terms of the total community. They're up to 645 million members in every industry across the globe. It is not a job search site, okay? So let's keep that in mind because I know there's some of you in the room that are saying, well, I'm not job seeking, so I don't really need to be on LinkedIn until I do. No, it is actually used more by people for professional networking purposes, for marketing and business development, than it is used by job seekers. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then professional information only on LinkedIn, nothing you wouldn't talk about at the office, so to speak. And even things like birthday, I don't show mine on the profile, and I shut off the birthday notifications. If I'm friends with you on Facebook, Maggie, I'll wish you a happy birthday there, but I don't need to see that on LinkedIn. That's my philosophy. Okay? So moving on, let's talk about some facts on LinkedIn. And these are some things that I want you to keep in mind as we talk about how often to post on LinkedIn and how often should we be active on LinkedIn. So even though there are 645 million members, less than half, about 303 million, are active on a monthly basis or more. So keep that in mind. It's really easy to kind of connect and be forgotten, right? Because they don't go on there that often. About 48% of us log in daily. How many people have logged in on LinkedIn so far today? Right? I'm going to have you pass the feather boat to somebody else and raise their hand. Anybody who's logged in today on LinkedIn? She's like getting protective. She's like, no, it's not. It's going to move. It's going to move around the room. There you go. The average user only spends about 17 minutes a month on LinkedIn. So kind of, it's like, not like Facebook where you go and even Instagram, you sit there and you hang out and you're scrolling through. It's almost like going on LinkedIn, you're reading the Wall Street Journal. You go in, you read the news from top to bottom, and you throw the paper aside until the next day's news come in, right? So think about that activity and the brief amount of time that most people are using LinkedIn. If you do have a profile photo on your account, I highly recommend it. You will get 21 times more profile views and up to 9 times more connection requests. Okay? A little bit later, we're going to talk about, is your profile public? Can we see it? We're going to talk about that. Okay? And now I want to start with actually beginning with the end in mind. I imagine there are a few people in the room that are kind of a little bit more advanced, and they're probably like, is this Brenda character going to teach me anything new or not? So I want to give you this kind of right off the bat. And I want you right now, if you have your phone or your laptop with you, I want you to go onto your profile, and I want you to go on that section that says your dashboard private to you. So you're the only person who can see this information. And LinkedIn gives you 3 numbers. I really think the first number is the most important number. That is who viewed your profile in the past 90 days. Okay? So click on that number, and then you're going to see, as long as you're not in completely private mode here, you're going to see this trend line that's coming up. And this is showing you over the past 90 days, how many times has your profile been viewed?
Where?
Question?
Okay, so where is this on the?
Are you on your profile?
Okay.
You have to be in the app, on your profile, and then scroll down a little bit. If you're a brand new user to LinkedIn and you don't have any history, it's not going to be there yet. But for everyone else, you should see it. Okay? Could one of your neighbors help out?
Oh, right there.
Okay. Yep. All right. So we're going to click on Who Viewed Your Profile. We're going to see our trend line. This is for the past 90 days. Now, what I recommend you do, and I started doing this myself about a year and a half ago, is look at this at least once a week and focus on where there are peaks. Because when there's a peak of activity, you did something. You probably posted that day. You had conversations going back and forth. You were engaging on your homepage feed. Whatever it was, that was driving profile views. Don't worry about the dips. Those will happen, holidays, conferences, travel, things like that. But let's focus on the peaks. When I started doing this, I was getting about 1,800 views over a 90-day period. And when I started this technique and focusing on the peaks, I now raised my number, I'm almost up to 7,000 views. So it's a really, really strong indicator of your performance on LinkedIn. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Is this the first time some of you are looking at this number too?
Yeah.
Okay, so start paying attention to that. The other thing I want to talk about is your LinkedIn Social Selling Index. Anybody ever heard of your LinkedIn Social Selling Index?
No.
Does anybody know what their number is?
I do.
What's your number? Give me the fellow goal. We're going to move it around again.
98.
98?
Yeah.
Wow, do you have Sales Navigator?
Well, I used to, but not anymore.
Okay, awesome. 98, that is like amazing. I think you're the highest SSI score that I've
I
ever
really
met.
want to know about that because I kind of think it's fake.
So
Because I'm like,
let me explain this SSI, let me give you the instructions on how to find it. It's actually baked into LinkedIn, into the Sales Navigator platform. So you can either Google it, or I've set up like a friendly URL. If you go to mellermarketing.com/mylinkedinSSI, I kind of redirect to the page. So when you go to mellermarketing.com/mylinkedinSSI, I have a web page, and then it says, see your SSI. You click on that button, and then it redirects you to LinkedIn, and then you click on get your score free. Okay? So you can Google it, or you can follow these steps. But in essence, this is an index. So this is on a scale of 0 to 100. 50 is actually average for the population. So don't feel that if you get a score of 60, you're not good. You're getting a D, you're failing. 50 is actually a good number. I've been as high as 86, so I'm really impressed with the 98 there. I've also heard, though, that you can't get above 90 unless you have Sales Navigator.
Yeah, so I had Sales Navigator, and the reason why I questioned that number is, like I was telling you before, I have very low engagement on my business page. So I'm like, if this social selling index is so good, why am I not getting more people following me on my business page?
All right, well, let's talk about it. So essentially, this is a number given to you by LinkedIn. It does assess your effectiveness at social selling, building the right relationships, getting conversations started with the right people, connecting with people of a certain job title level. So it is just one number of many that I look at, but I kind of look at it as a benchmark. And as you start to do things like optimize your profile, as you start to do things like having more conversations with invitations as they're coming in, as you're posting, as you're getting conversations on your homepage feed, that number will go up. But I actually find my number starts to dip when my business is doing really well because I don't have as much time to spend on LinkedIn. So it's not the be-all, end-all, it is just one number of many. All right?
I'm spending
Yes.
too much time.
Is your SSI only available if you're on premium?
No, SSI is available to anyone.
Okay.
But when you get in there, they're going to say, hey, would you like to upgrade to Sales Navigator? So it is a tool used by LinkedIn. Yep. All right, so we're going to move along, and now let's jump into optimizing our LinkedIn profile. So I want you to think of this concept as we're talking about optimizing our profile. Your profile is kind of like a sculpture, okay? And it's as much about what you take out as what you keep in that makes it a work of art. Okay, and I love this statue. Has anybody been to New York to see the what do they call it? It's the girl.
That's
Girl at the stock
the New York Stock Exchange.
I haven't seen it in person yet, but I love it kind of as an analogy. I thought it worked really well for this conference. So when we're talking about optimizing our profile, I want you to think right now about who is your ideal target audience. That's who you're writing your profile for. You're not writing it for everyone. You're writing it for that ideal target audience. I want you to think about filling out every area LinkedIn gives you and using your character limits because that will help you to come up in more searches on LinkedIn. And when the right people land on your profile, then we can tell them your story. We can sell to them. Okay? And then I also want you to think about writing it for people, human human beings to read, you want to make it interesting and dynamic, and you also want to write it for a computer so that you're coming up in search results, so thinking about SEO topics. So I'm going to give you some techniques in your profile now. This is my suggested profile checklist. You have it in front of you so you can kind of follow along here. So I'll be covering 7 areas: your photos at the top, your headline, your contact information, your about section, your experience, skills, and recommendations. Okay? So let's go through those now. Bless you. Let's start with your LinkedIn profile photo. I want you to look at your phone or your laptop right now and look at your photo. Did anybody get a headshot photo taken at the booth this week? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Let's move the feather boa again, if you could. Claire.
Oh, sorry.
Let's move to somebody who had a headshot photo taken. Go ahead and move it around there. Here you go. And any opportunity you have, if there's a headshot photographer, get a new headshot. Because your headshot should be the best professional representation of you. And we as women, I don't know about you guys, but I change my hair color, sometimes I change my eyeglasses, and we look different. So when I meet you in person, you should look like your profile photo. I want it to be pleasant, professional, smiling. And the other important thing here is that your face, from the top of your head to your chin, that should be about 50 to 60% of the circle. The reason for that is that about 50% of web traffic nowadays occurs on our mobile device. So if I'm looking at your profile on mobile and it's from your head down to your waist, I cannot see you. The other thing, and this is kind of a subtle thing from a marketing perspective, when your profile photo is a little bit more zoomed up, you look more important, you look more approachable, you look more impressive. When it's a little bit scaled back, you look more diminutive, maybe not quite as approachable. So I'm giving you a couple of examples of great headshot photos in here. Shauna, I think Shauna's in the back of the room, does a great job with hers. Courtney, is Courtney here? You guys want to tell Courtney I gave her a shout out in here. Susan's a public speaker through my network. Rachel, who presented yesterday, I don't think Rachel's here, is she? She's got a great headshot photo. And April, who works for the Together Digital organization. Now I included this woman, she's not a part of the organization, but just to show you context, looking side by side, she's a little bit more set back, and it makes me think like she's more staff member and not leadership. Does that make sense? So if you wanted to zoom in on yours, when you go into the photo, that pencil icon, they give you this grid, and I like to use the top 2 squares to fill out my face. Okay? So that's a little technique to think about there. All right, we're going to move on now and talk about your LinkedIn background photo. So look at your profile right now. My guess is probably a half to a third of you have the green, teal, blue, and the dots and the lines. Okay, you guys, we work in marketing. We have a heart to heart. This is like advertising, promotion, marketing space for you or for your business, okay? So you need to change and put a header image in there. You cannot do this from your phone. You can only do it from your laptop. But what I would recommend is think about that space like a giant billboard that LinkedIn has given you behind your headshot. And you can advertise your business, you can put your company logo, you can just put some colored effect or a photograph or a picture of mountains or something, but use something for that space. I like to think about this the same way as I do think about that highway billboard. McDonald's doesn't put that billboard up and leave it up for a year. They change it about every month or so. So I will change mine. I might put, right now I'm promoting events, maybe next month I might put LinkedIn tips, maybe after that I might put the Together Digital logo or something different on there. But think about varying that up. Some tips here: ideally promote or support your organization. It makes you look like a great brand ambassador, even if you're thinking about making a move. It makes you look like a great employee, and who would want to snatch you up, right? If you love your organization, you're supporting your organization even more so because you're promoting your organization. If you're struggling with that or don't want to do that, then at least choose some stock photography. I'm giving you a couple examples in here. Pexels, Unsplash, Pixabay, those are all free and for commercial use. You can use those. Or Together Digital has actually created some great header graphics for us, okay? And a couple of these are a little bit lighter in the background to see, but different variations of the logo. There's one that has these great header images from different events, and then there's that nice teal blue version of it as well. So a couple of rock stars that I kind of identified, and I did a reach out before the presentation. If you're in the room, let me know. Christine Meganis from San Francisco. So Christine, she's got the golden bridge in the background there. So I love that. So it's a nice geographic dimension that kind of supports the industry that she works in and where she works. Susan's from Detroit. She's not here, but she's got artwork in the background. We've got, let's see, Andrea. Is Andrea in the room here? Yes. Andrea, where are you at, in the back? I was like stacking my deck, like trying to I'm going to put your picture in the presentation, come on out. And you work for, is it like sports marketing or a college or university?
I used to do, well, I'm an event manager, so I do live events.
I love it.
I used to run the sustainability program at
Yeah.
in Texas, and that's something
I love it. I saw that photo, I'm like, that's great. It shows her pride in what she does, and it kind of showcases the work that she's doing as well. And then Courtney and Elena, I just show them as two different examples of using images from Together Digital as part of the background. So it's a great way to promote your chapter as well. Okay? All right, so let's move on now, and underneath there you have your name field, and right underneath your name you have a field that's called headline. Okay? Most people probably have the default, which is job title at company. Really, really boring, guys. You need to change that. Again, we are all marketers. We can come up with a couple of keywords and phrases or even adjectives to add in there to help describe ourselves. And you've got 120 characters to work with there. You can use slogans, adjectives, mantras, those types of things. And what I like to think about is if you do a search for your job title on LinkedIn, and you can do this when you get back to the office, do a search and you're going to see the search results that appear in here. And all we see in the search results, we see your headshot photo, we see your name, we see your headline, and there's some other stuff that we kind of ignore. So really when we're scanning down the list, the headline is helping to distinguish one person from the next. And most of these say, marketing manager at Raymond, marketing Raymond at Maria, marketing manager at Microsoft. So it's not really telling me anything that's different or unique about those individuals other than the company. Why not use a more compelling descriptive headline? And there's some great examples here. Is Gina here in the room? Gina Steffens? So she has, I love this, senior digital marketing strategist, seeking new clients, speaker, VP ticket, seeking new clients. That just gave me pause. I was like, oh wait, she's not looking for a job, she's looking for more work. Like that's really clever. It's something that's kind of unique in there. Katie, who is on the main stage, unapologetic marketing truth teller. That's kind of like her tagline. So that's something that she's using. Shauna helps clients translate vision into reality. So she's speaking about that end benefit there. Let's see who else. Keisha, is Keisha in the room here? She said she's going to sing back. Midwest high energy speaker. Have you guys met Keisha? That's her, right? She's definitely high energy. So some really great examples. Amanda has used some of her handles for the different organizations she supports and that she speaks at as well. So some great examples in there. So I use a variation of that. I use the I help blank with blank formula. And you guys feel free to use this as well. So I help people and businesses unlock the power of LinkedIn. That's what I do. Who do you help? And what do you help them with? Okay? So think about that as a variation for your headline. Okay? Hopefully this has given you some ideas to think about. Job title at company, boring. Let's elevate it up. Let's add in some keywords and phrases in there. All right. So let's move on now to your contact information. And if you're on your mobile phone, you're not going to see contact information at the top. You have to actually scroll all the way down to the bottom. Okay? And for that very reason, I like to include some of my contact information in my about paragraph to make it easy for people to get a hold of me. But what I recommend is on your contact information, you should review that at least annually because your contact information could change. Your website could change, your email address might change, that type of thing. The very first thing I want you to do in your contact information is look at your LinkedIn URL. Is it simplified? So if your LinkedIn web address ends with gobbledygook characters like linkedin.com/in/Brenda Meller/ Z23XQ8YDDR, whatever, you can actually go in and modify that. On the desktop version, the way you do this is you click on that URL and you go into the section that's entitled Edit Public Profile and URL. And then when you click on that, you can actually just click on this little pencil icon and you can take off that gobbledygook. I don't think you can do it from the phone, can you? Is anybody trying to do this right now? I think it's a limitation that you can't do from your phone, but on the desktop you can do that. And when you are in the desktop in this area, this is another place I like to look at your visibility in general. I like to say blue shows us you, so make sure everything is toggled to open in here. Starting with your profile's public visibility, and then scrolling down the page. This is going to be, I believe, guys, on desktop only. I don't think you can see all these features here, so just follow along on the screen.
Okay.
So again, under this public visibility, your profile photo should be set to public. Otherwise, people cannot see it unless they are on LinkedIn and connected with you. And there's some other variations of that, but I recommend public. Underneath that, everything else should be toggled to blue because blue shows us you. Blue allows people to see your profile. Okay? So check those settings when you get back. Make sure those are opened up. A couple of other things in your contact information. LinkedIn gives you the ability to add up to 3 websites in here. And those aren't website home pages. Those can be any type of a web page. So what I do is I put my company website in there, and then when it asks me website type, there's personal, blog, there's a couple different options in there. Choose other, and when you choose other, you can add a description of up to 30 characters. Wow. So you're not just saying mellermarketing.com and in parentheses company website. Now I can say mellermarketing.com LinkedIn coaching services. So I can describe myself. And think about using this for your chapter. You've got 3 websites you can put. So what I did is I put togetherindigital.com/Detroit. I chose other, and then I put in there networking and events for women. Promoting my chapter, helping you guys out, helping our chapter grow, okay? So think about putting 3 in there. If you're on Twitter, do keep in mind here that you can add multiple Twitter accounts. So if you're managing multiple for your personal, for your business, you can put a couple of those in there. That's a newer feature for this year. Okay? And then the final thing on here is your email address that shows in your contact information. That's the email that you designated as your primary. You can add a couple of emails on your LinkedIn account. I like to see your work email noted as your primary, because if I want to do business with you, I don't want to send you an email to your AOL or your email. I feel a little bit funny sending it to your home email. So change it to your primary, because that helps people that they may want to reach out to you. Remember the stats we talked about earlier? People know that you may not be on LinkedIn every single day, so they may not want to message you and wait for a response. They might want to email you. Is that making sense? Okay, so we'll get that updated. All right, so now let's move on to your about statement on LinkedIn. So scroll down to your profile right now. If you're lucky and you have both your laptop and your phone with you, I want you to pull your profile up in both views right now. Okay? And what I want you to do is just look at the about statement and don't expand it. Don't click on see more, just leave it in the collapsed view. There's 3 lines that are viewable. Now, desktop versus mobile. Mobile is actually a lot shorter. It cuts off a lot sooner. It's only about 10 to 12 words. On the desktop version, we're going to see about 25 to 42 words. Okay? So when you're thinking about your about statement, keep this in mind. Most people will not click on see more. Most people are just going to see what they see, and they're going to scroll off or keep going along the profile. The right people will, if you've captured their attention. But you've got to use something really compelling and that grabs them in that first sentence. One technique to do is to do that in the first person, because your LinkedIn profile is you speaking to people. So if I were to meet you at an event, what's your elevator pitch? How do you describe yourself? So you got to get to the point really quickly in that first sentence or 2. Okay? Does anybody have a really good about statement? You want to read it out for us?
I just like mine is a fitting thing. Telling your brand story to the people who most need to hear it.
Telling your brand story to the people who most need to hear it.
Healthcare doesn't need another product, it needs a hero. That's you.
Healthcare doesn't need another product, it needs a hero. That's you.
Every hero needs a Homeric poet to ensure they live forever. That's me.
That's great. Healthcare doesn't need a Homeric poet. That's me. Did I get that right?
Every hero needs a Homeric poet to make sure they live forever.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Would you mind passing the feather boa over there? So you can see how storytelling, I think, is really important in here. You want to make it interesting. Your about is not the same as what appears on the top of a resume. Remember, the goal of a resume is to get a job. Your goal of your LinkedIn profile is to engage and connect with people, whether those are your target audience, your customers, your current customers, people you're recruiting, whatever, but you want to tell your story. Now, this is one of the sections I feel is really underutilized on LinkedIn. LinkedIn gives us 2,000 characters total. Most people only read the first 3 lines, but the right people are going to read more. They're going to click and they're going to expand to read it. So spend some time going through those 2,000 characters. And what I say is, there's no HTML formatting. You can't do bolding or hyperlinking or underlining, but there are some techniques that you can use. You can use all caps for section headings, do short, snackable chunks of copy separated by paragraph breaks, and air it out a little bit. Do what I do. Put in a bulleted list, but use emojis instead, and adds a little pop of color. Okay? And I use emojis that are appropriate for a professional networking site. So I use green check marks or stars or things that really resonate with the business audience. Okay? So from a content perspective, again, think about how you describe yourself, your elevator pitch. How do you describe yourself to other people? If you're struggling with, gosh, Brenda, I can't think of that, do what I do. I look up LinkedIn coaches and trainers and presenters, public speakers. I can look and see what do they have on their profile, because that might inspire me to think about how I could write mine a little bit different. Okay? And if you have any recommendations, look and see, what do people say about you? What adjectives are they using to describe you? That might help to give you some inspiration as well. All right, and I like to think about your summary. I'll get a question in just a second here. Your summary, you're writing it for both a human being to read, right? You want to make it interesting. You're also writing it for a machine. You're writing it for LinkedIn to scroll through your profile, pull up keywords, and position you to come up in search results. Okay, so that's why I like to use those 2,000 characters. And there's even one section in my profile. I have this in my about statement, and I have this in every one of my experience sections as well. It's titled specialties, and then I put in a keyword list separated by comments the things that I want to be found for on LinkedIn. That helps me to come up in search results. Okay, so it's a little technique to try. There was a hand in the back of the room.
Yes. So you mentioned writing in first person.
Yes.
We're doing a lot of profiles, especially maybe executives or people who do a lot of speaking. They seem to always have it in third person. As
They
if
do.
Someone wrote it for them.
Yep.
Thoughts about that?
So LinkedIn is kind of this whole new animal. It's like the Wild West. You know, social media came on, and people are like, we don't know how to treat these things. So we're gonna use PR speak. We have an executive profile that we've written, and we're gonna place that on LinkedIn. I mean, there's no hard and fast rule that says you can't do things your own way. This is a preference, and this isn't just a Brenda Meller. I mean, there are experts from LinkedIn and Forbes and other places that will say the same thing. When people are reading your profile, they're looking to learn about you. And there's a certain engagement level that happens when you're writing in the first person. They feel like you're talking to them. Versus that third person, you kind of feel like this executive who's a little bit out of touch, and your PR firm has written it for you. So just something to think about there. Good question. Was there another hand? No? Keep going. Does that help though a little bit?
Yes. I think what I find is sometimes it's easier to say some things about myself if it doesn't sound like I said it.
Yes.
Than if someone else.
And again, personal preference. I mean, some people, I have some clients that they're like, nope, I'm not writing it in first person. It feels a little too touchy-feely. It feels better third person because I don't feel like I'm, banging my own chest and that kind of thing. But from a relationship building perspective, I think it can help to engage people with your profile.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, and in my profile, I've included a screen capture in here, but you guys feel free to look at my profile as often as you like. This is what I do for a living. Bless you. On LinkedIn, it is not stalking, it is research. Okay? So feel free to research people on LinkedIn. Now, do keep in mind, people can see that you've researched them, so do keep in mind. But this is what I do for a living. Look at my profile as often as you'd like. You're going to see some of the techniques I just went through. I use all caps for section headings. I use emojis, and you can't read the text, but you can see the little pops of colors that those emojis do add in on there. And at the bottom, I have my specialties. And at the very bottom, you can see I do upload media into my profile. Does anybody have any media on their profile? Yeah. Awesome. Let's get the feather boa. Let's move to the back of the room now, if you don't mind. What do you have in your media section? Somebody from the back of the room here. I heard somebody say yeah.
Speaker reel.
Speaker reel. We're passing around the feather boa. Did you get that part? Did you hear that part? So speaker clips, you can upload PDFs, Word documents, links to websites, links to blogs, articles you've appeared in, awards that you've won. You could put sell sheets, PDFs for your company. Maybe you have upcoming event flyers as a PDF or a Word document or as a picture. So think about using that media section to help kind of expand and tell your story a little bit. All right? Yeah.
Brenda, one of the questions that come up a lot is if you are an MBA or whatever, putting it after your name, there's
it's moving by itself now. I love it.
There always seems to be like yes, no, why.
It's personal preference. The way I look at it, like when I first earned my MBA, I was so proud. That was hard. That was like 5 years of pain going through and earning that. And when I earned it, I put it on my profile. I wanted to shout to the world that I had my MBA. Now my career shifted. And as a consultant coach is not as relevant as if I'm trying to find a job in a Fortune 500 company. Same thing applies if you're a CPA, having that CPA designation, or if you work in financial services or some other area. It's really a personal preference. If you think the MBA will help you to come up in searches by your ideal target audience, keep it in. If it's important to you, keep it in. If not, then you could omit it. Okay? Good question though. All right. So that covers off your about statement. This is probably going to be some homework for you ladies to work on, right? Expanding it out, telling your story. Look at my profile, get some examples on there, look up your competitors, and it will help to expand that out a bit as well. Scroll down now into the section of your profile that's called experience. And one common mistake I see in the experience section is that you have your job title listed, your company, and that's it. You don't have any description of your company or any other information in there. An experience section is really your opportunity to sell your company. And at this point, people are on your profile and they're reading it and they click to expand it. I mean, that's like a person raising their hand and like, I want to learn more about you. Let's help them. Start with a 1 to 2 sentence description of your company, and then maybe list products and services that your company sells. Maybe then you offer out contact information. Thank you, Shauna. Contact information that would go in there, and then you list out your job responsibilities, etc. Okay? So this is something, you can do it from your phone. I recommend modifying this from your desktop, and then you can expand on that a little bit.
Question.
Yes?
How do you get that little blurb?
How do you get the little blurb? Excellent question, Shauna. So an easy way of getting that blurb is if you click on your company logo, it would take you to your company page, and your company page probably has an about paragraph. Copy, paste. Like, I'm lazy, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go do the work of writing it for my company. My company's already done that. So just copy, paste. A really good technique to put in it. All right? So also in this section, add media in there, add specialties. You know, repetition works in your favor. So in my specialties list, I have LinkedIn consultant, executive LinkedIn training, LinkedIn trainer, etc. Those are the words I want to be found for. So think about the keywords and phrases you want to be found for and make sure they are listed in multiple places. Your about section, each of your experience section. The more often you repeat those, the more likely you'll come up in searches on LinkedIn. Okay? Is there a hand? Yeah.
How is your specialties list different from your skills list?
It can be different, but it can be similar as well. So we're going to jump ahead, actually. I'll go to there right now. So your skills list section of your LinkedIn profile, let's pass the feather boa. Where's it at? We're going to pass it up to you over here. So your skills section on your LinkedIn profile, you do have the ability to add up to 50 skills on your profile. Ladies, we tend to not use all 50 because we think we're bragging about ourselves to put too much stuff in there. I would highly encourage you, it helps you to come up in search results, use all 50 on your profile. And here, you know, you can put 50 skills in there. I wouldn't put 50 specialties in my list to come back to that question. I might list like the top 5 to 10 things that I want to be found for. But skills, these are everything that's related to my role and what I do. More important though than using all 50 are what are the top 3. So look at your skills right now. Look at the 3 that are appearing at the top of the list. Again, people are lazy. Most people will not click on show more. They're not going to look at your full skills list. They're going to look at the top 3. And if you tell me that you're a marketing strategist and you specialize in digital and you're a public speaker, but your skills say Excel, financial analysis, PowerPoint, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought she was like a digital person, right? So you can and you should consider reordering those. It's easiest to do this in the desktop version. The top 3 that are pinned are those that you get the most endorsements for, but you can unpin and then you can put something else in its place, and you can also reorder those around. Okay? So think about what are the 3 things you want to be known for. Those should be the top 3 skills in your list. Questions?
Just going back one section, if you are trying to broadcast like board membership or
Yes.
an active member and something like that,
Yes.
any feedback on volunteering section versus experience section?
Excellent, and thank you. It was almost like this was planned, because I skipped over and I wanted to come back to it. So last year, I don't know if you guys were here last year, there was a LinkedIn rep who was down in the lounge and she had a handout sheet and somebody asked this question about board experience, and there's a section in the bottom that's called like organizations and volunteering, and it's kind of like over here and it's swept off to the side and it really has no visibility. And she suggested, and I'm using this everywhere I go, if you serve in a board position, put it in your experience section. Okay? Now I put my page out at the top. My board affiliation is below that. Okay? But think about when you serve on a board, you are serving on that board. You are giving your experience, especially all of us as board members for Together Digital, we are giving pro bono experience, right? And we are gaining experience from that. And it's a really great way of giving visibility to your organization. Now I've got a video link that walks through the steps of how to add this into your experience section and why. I would encourage those of you who are on Together Digital boards to share